Nobody prepares husbands for the fact that pregnancy turns them into nervous little raccoons, Googling things at 2 a.m. Like, can contractions start because she's mad at me? No.
And instead of asking their wives, they asked us.
So today, we're answering the most unhinged husband questions.
Welcome, Waddlers. I'm Alicia.
And I'm Christian, and this is the Waddling Truth,
where we share the medical side,
the emotional side,
and the feral side. Before we start, follow the podcast and send this episode to your partner so they will stop getting pregnancy advice from random men in Facebook comment sections.
Okay, be honest. What hurts most? Kidney stones or birth?
Okay, medically speaking, both can be extremely painful. A lot of women who've experienced both say kidney stones absolutely compare to labor pain. The difference is labor usually comes with support hormones, helping your body cope, and eventually a baby. Kidney stones are just your organs choosing violence. One ends with a newborn, the other ends with you sobbing in a hospital urinal trying to pee out a demon gravel. Just so you know, my husband got kidney stones right after I gave birth.
And she almost chose violence.
I chose violence and I walked away.
Alicia definitely almost chose violence.
So Christian, is a cervix check like a prostate exam? If so, it can't be that bad.
Sir, women are literally laying there during contractions, swelling, exhaustion, leaking fluids, and overstimulation. Can you imagine being touched there while you're overstimulated? Meanwhile, men compare everything to one finger and a cough. For some women, cervical checks are mildly uncomfortable. For others, they're painful. And honestly, the second someone says, it can't be that bad, is usually when karma clocks in.
By the way, when you get your prostate exam, can you taste their finger in your mouth? Because that's what a cervix check feels like.
That's literally what it's like, yeah. No question. I just want to say you guys are great. You really calm my wife down and she feels like she's talking to her friend. Well, good. We love you.
Seriously, we love you guys.
For real. They don't let me into the appointment until after they examine my wife. Is that allowed?
A little context on this. This was actually a dad that came in because he was confused as to why they were not letting him in. Like, they make him sit out in the hallway and they will do the whole appointment with his wife and not even let him come in. And so the only thing I'll say about this is, yes, a lot of offices will privately ask questions, but those are like, are you being hurt at home? Do you feel safe? Yada, yada, yada.
I don't know if that is normal, though.
Well, no, my husband was always in there with me, and they always
because they would just ask in front of him.
Yeah, they would ask in front of him. So the only thing I can think of is that this particular dad, I don't know why they won't let him in. He literally sits out in the hallway. All I can say is I'm going to give the hospital the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just kind of swamped, and maybe I don't know.
I think if it was at a hospital, like, I feel like that'd be one thing. But the whole thing with that doctor on, what was that base? Fort Hood, that makes me, like, question this hardcore. And I think it's just because we just did it. So that's maybe why I'm, like, super, like, my ears are perked up. But I don't know. I just don't feel good about that. I'm kind of with him on this. I'm not really sure why they don't.
Yeah, they let him in.
She doesn't want him.
Well, she asked for him, and they say he has got to sit out in the hallway. And then so what they do is they do the whole exam, the whole appointment, and then they call him in. From what he's told me, they call him in, and then they do the whole appointment basically over again, kind of taking double the time, which was kind of redundant to me. So my advice in this one is I don't think it's right. So I'm not going to sit here and defend the hospital. I think that if you and your partner have a problem with it, you need to talk to patient advocacy and you need to let them know your concerns, because if your wife feels unsafe with you being in there, then she's in an unsafe environment, and it doesn't matter what they think they're doing, she's not okay with it. So I'm not going to sit there and defend the hospital, and I'm not going to sit there and say the dad's doing something. All I can say is that your wife verbally told me that she wasn't okay with that. So my advice to them was to go to talk to patient advocacy.
Yeah,
so
I think that's good advice because
Yeah,
like at the end of the day, like we're not medical professionals, right? Like we don't work at doctor's offices, but I have had 5 babies. So like I feel like I can speak on this, and I feel that is like really odd. I don't know. It just gives me the weird vibes, but at the same time, like I don't know. I feel like I've gone to every doctor in the area. So if you're in our area, then I feel like I've gone there, and I feel like that'd be weird. Like I would feel weird about that. But again, I think Alicia gave you some good advice.
I feel like something had to happen, which it doesn't matter if something did happen with her in the past or not. If she's sitting there telling you she wants them in there, that's not your choice to tell them no. Like, yes, there's a point where you have to protect the person, but guess what? It's still their decision. So even if like it's a POS dad, like guess what? It's not your decision. She's saying that she wants them in there. So,
No, I agree.
does sex really induce labor?
So yes, every man at 39 weeks suddenly becomes a labor inducting scientist. Yes, there is some science behind it. Semen contains prostaglandins. Orgasm and nipple stimulation can increase oxytocin, but that only works if her body is near labor. So let's just get to the nitty gritty. So yes, like if you, she doesn't really need you. Like, let's just be real. Like, to actually go into labor, she really doesn't need you. Okay. Like, she just needs you to do a little bit of extra work. But also, like, the prostaglandins are actually what softens the cervix. So, it actually, like, semen itself does help even before actual labor begins because it helps to thin the cervix and soften the cervix. So, yes, but her body has to be ready to, like, move forward for that to really be a thing. But if her body is nowhere near labor, your scented candles and Usher playlists are not magically evicting that baby. That child still has tenant rights. If this episode made you laugh, follow the podcast and share it with another couple trying to survive pregnancy without fighting in a Costco parking lot. Like the poke, circumcision, and stuff like that.
Healthy parenting decisions usually work best when both parents are informed and involved. Research
Yep.
together, ask questions together, talk through concerns together. Because moms are already carrying a physical load and they don't need to carry 100% of the mental load all alone
Yes.
while dad just nods on the couch eating shredded cheese at midnight. And yes, postpartum sleep deprivation absolutely turns normal conversations into UFC fight night. Now, I will
Yes.
say, I will say I'm the primary person that makes all decisions for my kids. I do all the research. My husband tends to just kind of follow my lead. He'll ask questions where they come from, but he's always trusted me in that. I kind of feel like that's how most dads are. But dad, if you have a problem with, your child getting a circumcision or your child getting the vax and your wife is okay with it, that's when you need to have those conversations because guess what? This is going to be a lifetime thing.
Yes,
so
it
start
is.
those conversations now before
It's important to have the
turns.
compromise and to decide together. Yes. If you're on the edge about it, I think it's best to make sure that you're like if that's something you really wanted to be a part of and you and your wife or your partner don't agree on it, I think it'd be best to go to appointments with her for sure. So that way you can make your concerns known and possibly just maybe get some better information or you can share information with her, whatever. Like you guys just work it out together. I think that's the most important thing because you both want what's best for your baby.
I agree. And start those conversations early.
It's important too, seriously. Like maybe before you have a baby.
My wife and I can't agree on a baby name. We both hate each other's choices.
I have an answer for this one. As in, good luck. No, I'm just kidding. It's hard to name 5 kids, especially like the same gender. And so it was really hard. But I will say, the second that you guys find a name, one of you will say it and you'll both be like, oh, that's it. And like, that's just the best way I can describe it. And honestly, someone's probably going to compromise a little bit. And it might take saying the name like 5 separate times for her to like it or for you to like it. So I would just be your baby's not going to not have a name. You'll be okay.
I will say one of the worst things about me and my husband is that we were naming our kids while he was teaching. So every name that I loved, he had a student that was just a complete ass. And he was like, nope, I can't do nope, can't do it. I'm like, and
well, have
it
you
was
ever
funny
looked into that though? There's like something about that, like kids with the names, you know what I mean?
Yeah. The funny thing is that he had our girl name picked out since he was 15. And I always hated this name. Hated it. I felt like it sounded, don't laugh at me, but I was like, she's not a I don't want that.
Oh my God. What was the name? Was it? Oh, I shouldn't say that.
But the name was I hated it. I hated that name. It sounded like a hooker. I couldn't do it.
Really? You think that one?
I just
like
can't.
hooker?
I don't know. I saw a show where she was like a gypsy, and I was like, no, my daughter's not a whore. I can't do this.
So good luck with that is what we're trying to say because it's really hard naming a baby. And to be clear, there's something to that.
I would just try to be involved in. I will say that I've met a lot of people that a lot of women usually have like 2 names that they've had picked out since they were young, and they're kind of firm on it for the most part.
Mine's Gabriella.
You didn't name any of them.
No, actually what happened was I knew somebody in high school who had a daughter and her name was Jocelyn. And I thought that was the prettiest name I had ever heard in my entire life. And I when we were pregnant with Jocelyn, we didn't know what we were having yet. And we were driving on the highway and I'm like going through baby names and like whatever. And like we landed on Jocelyn and that was the only one that he liked. And I was like, that's the only one I like too. Like that was like my favorite name.
One of these days I'll have to tell you the story of how Rosie's name came. I think it's my favorite
Yes.
story.
Oh, I can't wait.
What is the 511 rule and how do we know if we're doing it right?
Honestly, you're asking the wrong girl. No, I'm just kidding. No, but
You know what she did? She ignored it until she couldn't, and then she got to the hospital. She's like, oh shit, I'm in labor.
some people don't feel them right, okay? I don't feel them right. They feel like period cramps and like I've gone to the hospital and like they were never labor, okay? So the 5-1-1 rule means contractions are 5 minutes apart, lasting for 1 minute each for at least an hour. So that means like there's no in-betweens. That means they don't really vary in time length. So like if you have one that's like 3 minutes apart and then it's like 6 or 7 minutes apart and then it's like those don't that's like that's a good clue that it's not going to be labor because when contractions do start, they do kind of start coming like regularly. And I mean like regularly. So I would say the best rule of thumb is if she's having contractions that are consistent, like within like, I think it's like 10 seconds to like 20 seconds, which sounds simple until your wife is growling through contractions while you're panic timing them like a confused substitute teacher. And men really do open 17 contraction apps at once like they're trying to launch a SpaceX rocket. But remember, it's a guideline, not a universal rule. If you believe that your wife is in labor or she believes that she's in labor, and honestly, if she's to the point where she's making noise, it's time to go.
Yeah, because some people progress a lot faster than most.
I know I do.
I think
like when I actually have like
once
a
you
real
hit 5 or
contraction,
6, you kind of go fast.
truly. What makes a good partner during pregnancy and labor? Ooh, sorry, go ahead.
I love this one. Honestly, emotional safety. Not pretending to know everything, not trying to fix every emotion, not asking if she's almost done during active labor unless you want
Josh.
Not asking if she's almost done during active labor.
Get him,
unless she
girls.
wants to
Get him.
Attack.
Get him. Attack. No, he was totally kidding, but still, get him anyways. Because he's a butt face.
Damn it, Josh.
Damn it, Josh.
Oh my God. You know, that's one of the things that ChatGPT said about this. You guys are a fine mixture of chaos and damn it, Josh.
That's very funny. I love it.
Unless you want to spiritually leave this earth. A good partner listens, pays attention, advocates, learns comfort measures, carries the mental load too, and postpartum matters just as much. Sometimes the sexiest thing a man can do in postpartum is to refill her water bottle, bring her snacky snacks, and tell her she's doing a good job without being asked. You're welcome. There's our guidebook.
I think my favorite thing that Josh ever did postpartum was we had Baylor and it was like the middle of the night and Josh comes in and he's got like 4 stacks of Dunkin' Donuts for the nurse's station and like a whole one for me. And I was like, I married the right one. Like I did the right thing. Like high five. Like I did it.
When I had Colin, this is during because when you went there during you were not allowed to leave. If you left, you couldn't come back within 24 hours. What he
Yeah.
did for me was he had my dad meet him at the front door and he had my dad pick me up Texas Roadhouse with extra rolls and a garden salad. And he was like, I got you this whole spread. Yes.
I love that.
I
That's
love
so
him
sweet.
for that.
I always loved like post baby like date nights in the hospital where it's just you
When
your
they bring you the
husband,
cake and the
and your
little
brand new
bubbly
baby.
When they bring you
No,
the celebration cake and the
had
bubbly.
that.
I got
Yeah,
it
I
with
never
every
had
baby.
that. No, I never got that. But like it was always like it was just like because Josh always like made sure like that we had really good food right after the baby was born. So it was always like a really special time for both of us because it was just him, me, and our brand new little baby. And it was just a special little thing. Like it was our little date night, like after having our little baby. So our celebration.
I
yeah,
love that.
It was sweet.
I love going back on our memories.
I do too. It's fun because motherhood is wild, but
It's a wild
it's always
ride.
nice to like think about the really awesome parts of it because there is so many.
And it kind of shows you when you have your person, it makes the world a difference. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Waddling Truth.
Follow the podcast, send this episode to somebody who needs it, and remember,
Motherhood is messy.
and nobody gets through unscathed.